Have you ever witnessed someone twist the truth so boldly it leaves everyone stunned? In a bustling electronics store in downtown Seattle, a Karen stormed in, her voice slicing through the hum of fluorescent lights. She slammed a humidifier onto the counter, its plastic shell rattling like a warning. "This thing's broken," she bellowed, her eyes blazing with indignation. "It's so loud it keeps my kids awake, and I demand a refund." The staff, a young cashier named Mia, blinked in shock, sensing a storm brewing. Customers nearby paused, their curiosity piqued by the brewing confrontation. Karen's accusation hung heavy, but something about her story felt off, too rehearsed, too convenient. The humidifier, a mid-range model, sat accusingly on the counter, its once shiny exterior dulled by grime. Mia, barely a month into her job, steadied herself. She'd dealt with returns before, but Karen's intensity was a new beast. "Ma'am, can you explain the issue?" Mia asked, her voice calm but firm. Karen scoffed, crossing her arms. "It's noisy, obviously. I bought it 2 weeks ago, and it's been a nightmare. Your store sold me a defective product." Her words were sharp, each syllable a jab at the store's integrity. Mia glanced at the humidifier, noticing a faint odor of mildew. Her gut whispered, this wasn't a manufacturing flaw. As Mia began processing the return, a senior employee, Javier, stepped in. With a decade of retail under his belt, he'd seen every trick in the book. He examined the humidifier, his fingers tracing the caked-on dust and sticky residue inside the water tank. "Ma'am," he said, his tone measured, "this hasn't been cleaned. The manual says to rinse it weekly to prevent buildup." Karen's face flushed crimson. "Are you accusing me of lying?" she snapped, her voice rising to a pitch that turned heads. "I clean it every day. You're just dodging responsibility." Javier raised an eyebrow, unconvinced. He knew the truth was buried in the machine's neglected innards. The confrontation escalated as Karen doubled down, her voice now a theatrical wail. "I'm a single mom. I don't have time to deal with your junk products." Customers formed a loose circle, some whispering, others recording on their phones. Mia, flustered but determined, pulled up the store's return policy on her tablet. "Ma'am, we can't accept returns on items damaged by improper maintenance," she said, her voice shaking slightly. Karen's eyes narrowed, sensing weakness. "You're refusing me? I'll call corporate. I'll sue." The threat hung like a guillotine, but Javier wasn't fazed. He had a card up his sleeve, a twist that would shift the narrative. Enter Sarah, a quiet technician who'd been listening from the back. She wasn't scheduled to work the floor, but Javier's subtle nod brought her forward. Sarah, with her knack for spotting mechanical truths, had a reputation for solving disputes with evidence. She carried a small toolkit and a printout of a humidifier's serial number history. "I checked the records," Sarah said, her voice soft but authoritative. "This unit was returned once before, 6 months ago, for the same issue. The previous customer admitted to never cleaning it, and we replaced it. This is that same unit." The crowd gasped. Karen's jaw tightened, her confidence wavering. Sarah's revelation was a bombshell. The humidifier wasn't just neglected, it was a repeat offender, passed from one careless owner to another. Karen, caught off guard, stammered, "That's impossible. I bought it new." But Sarah wasn't done. She unscrewed the humidifier's filter, revealing a thick layer of mold and calcium deposits. "This buildup takes months," she said, holding up the filter for all to see. "It's why the motor's straining, making that noise. A quick rinse would have prevented this." The crowd murmured, their sympathy for Karen evaporating. Javier added, "We have footage of you purchasing this at a discount, ma'am. You knew it was a refurbished unit." The evidence was undeniable, but Karen refused to back down. She leaned over the counter, her voice a venomous hiss. "You're all liars. You're scamming me." Her hands flailed, knocking a display of USB cables to the floor. Mia flinched, but Javier stood firm, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to Karen's chaos. "Ma'am, you can leave, or we can call security," he said, his tone leaving no room for negotiation. The crowd's whispers grew louder, some shaking their heads in disbelief. Karen's tantrum had become her undoing, her lies exposed under the harsh light of truth. Karen's defiance crumbled as Sarah projected the store's security footage onto a nearby demo screen. The grainy video showed her purchasing the humidifier, clearly labeled as refurbished, with a cashier explaining its history. The crowd's murmurs turned to chuckles, and Karen's face burned with humiliation. "This is a setup," she shouted, but her voice lacked conviction. She grabbed the humidifier, as if to storm out, but Javier blocked her path. "You're welcome to file a complaint, but the evidence speaks for itself," he said. Defeated, Karen shoved the humidifier back onto the counter and stormed out, leaving a trail of scattered cables and stunned onlookers. The store returned to its usual hum, but the air felt lighter, as if justice had been served. Mia, still shaken, smiled to Javier and Sarah. "How did you know?" she asked. Javier shrugged. "Experience, and a little help from Sarah's detective work." Sarah blushed, unaccustomed to the spotlight. The customers dispersed, some praising the staff's professionalism, others sharing the story on social media. The wooden sign on the counter, scribbled with Karen's lies exposed, "The truth wins," became an impromptu symbol of the day's victory. It wasn't just about a humidifier, it was about integrity prevailing over deceit. In the days that followed, the story spread online, sparking debates about accountability and customer behavior. The store's manager praised Mia, Javier, and Sarah, offering them a small bonus for their composure. Karen, meanwhile, faced a wave of online criticism after her outburst went viral. Some speculated she'd return with another scheme, but for now, she was a cautionary tale, a reminder that truth has a way of catching up. The staff, bonded by the ordeal, felt a renewed sense of purpose. They weren't just selling electronics. They were upholding fairness in a world quick to judge. What would you have done in Mia's shoes, facing Karen's wrath? Should the staff have given her the refund to avoid the drama, or was standing their ground worth the fight? Share your thoughts. Where do you draw the line between compassion and accountability?